Tamira had really long weave braids, so I was able to, she put me in the headlock. I was able to wrap her weave around her neck. She had me in the headlock.
Punched the girl in her face, takes her wig off. They're fighting all up in the store, so I had to come back. I'm like, Crystal, calm down, it ain't that serious. Go to another line.
Brianna Spite and her boyfriend Alan Frazier say after they posted on Facebook about their son being ill.
When Alan and his girlfriend posted about their picture on Facebook, his sisters got a bit curious, and it led to something strange.
When Brianna didn't respond to her in a timely manner, she claims the defendant started threatening her. And then she and the other two defendants came to their home, assaulted Brianna, and vandalized Alan's car.
So it was really rude of the Frazier sisters. They crossed their boundaries and even threatened Brianna for no reason. Let's check out what they have to say.
Admit that Elena and Shanice, Alan's sisters, thought Brianna had a problem with them, so they went to the plaintiff's house to talk.
Well, the sisters had their own line of problems, and they also put up a charge against Brianna. But Marissa had something to say before the judge.
Marissa insists the plaintiffs are the ones who instigated the fight, and they have the video to prove it. They're countersuing for defamation and distress.
According to her, it was Brianna who instigated the fight, not them. Okay, this is just too confusing. But will the air be cleared out soon?
All this mess started from a post on Facebook. Okay, my son was sick. Brianna, my girlfriend, posted a picture on Facebook saying that she hoped my son gets well.
Alan then tells about how it all started and how his sister had asked his girlfriend about his nephew. And here's what Alan had to say.
Lena commented on the status and was like, how my nephew doing? But Brianna didn't have any time to comment.
I couldn't respond.
Brianna's only fault was that she couldn't respond in time, and maybe this instigated the sisters somewhere.
Doctors came in and my phone went dead. And then I guess she must have called Alan Frazier and was like, do your baby mama have a problem with me? And this is when she took everything to Facebook.
She broke the phone for a valid purpose, which had disastrous consequences, and that really was beyond imagination.
How she was gonna pull up to my house and beat me up and do this and do that to me. And they go to paper if you want to see it.
The threat comments she received on Facebook were full of hate, which anyone would not bear, especially when they are from a family member.
She inquired about the status, like she was concerned.
Yeah.
Right.
But then ultimately,
It said how she was going to pull up to my house. This is because I didn't respond.
Judge Mathis had been listening to the whole case and went through the comments on Facebook. There was a printout handed to her.
My son was sick about like around September.
I dare you and I'll put hands on any that try to stop me. You better save her.
And then it was revealed that Brianna was indeed attacked that day, and it was beyond cruelty. You have to see this.
At 1:00 a.m. in the morning, she come knocking at my door, banging at my door, all three of them, all four of them, matter of fact. The other girl not even here.
Brianna told Judge Mathis what exactly happened that day and how the girls got literally physical and jabbed her by her hair and neck, which was brutal enough.
She grabbed me by my hair, and this is when Alan tried to come in and break it up. And this is when all of them started jumping me, so I started calling them.
The proof really made Judge Mathis furious, for which he scolded the sisters and declared his result on the case regarding Brianna.
No, I didn't. I saw you all jumping her.
I did not jump
And
her.
I'm looking at it. No. Your claim is dismissed and yours is granted. Have a good day.
Plaintiff Danielle McDonald says her son goes to school with the defendant's son, and she claims the defendant's son is a bully who assaulted her son. Danielle claims as a result of the assault, her son suffered a concussion.
Due to the bullies in school, Danielle's son suffered a concussion and landed up in a hospital. Let's check the other side of the story.
Defendant Clarice Ross says her son has been friends with Danielle's son since 4th grade, and on the day of the incident, Danielle's son instigated the fight.
Just then, Danielle started speaking about how she wants to claim the charges of $520.
My son was assaulted in the lunchroom. He was bullied. He was hit by Clarice's son.
Was there an argument?
No, sir. Yes.
But what led to the heated argument?
After class, her son snuck my son in the hallway, hit him, caused him to fall down, hit his head, knocked out his tooth, and left him discombobulated.
Now, Clarice shared her side of the story and told Judge Mathis how these boys were just playing a game and it was natural to have a fight during it.
When I got the police report back in, February?
In February. Yet you come in here laughing.
Judge Mathis, on listening to the story, was angry at the behavior of Clarice. plus the cruelty of her son, for which he keenly observes all the evidences.
It's funny to you. Go ahead, man, finish.
This right here says that he had to go to the hospital. This is the bill. I brought as evidence.
Here, Clarice, despite all the evidence, is now trying to cover the mistakes of her son and says it was not her son's fault alone while this happened.
Boys make mistakes. Everybody make mistakes. Everybody go through things.
The playing of boys in school having weird games is something common according to Clarice. But here the story of cruelty was totally different that got into some serious situation.
Dominier called my son out his name, talked about my son because he don't have the latest gear. I buy what I can afford.
And to prove the innocence of her son, Clarice continued with her side of the story to defend him. But Danielle was in complete denial.
Her son is not no angel, and I did call Miss McDonald and tried to mend this. I called her, and the attitude I got back from her was just awful.
Clarice also tells Judge Mathis about calling Danielle to apologize and ask about how her son was doing. She wanted to tell her that she was sorry for what had happened.
I called her, I said, "Hello, Miss McDonald, this is Clarice. I apologize about what happened to your son."
But Judge Mathis was really not interested in the useless and baseless things he was hearing. All he wanted was actual facts so that he can come up with a fair decision.
You telling me the woman never mentioned it. Got it.
No.
So finish telling your story about
Okay.
what occurred with the fight.
Okay.
Well, it was ideal of Judge Mathis to solve the hearing about who was right on the basis of the facts and proofs and declare the results.
Ma'am, you don't know what your son does, and you don't know what your son does. All I do know, it does not sound reasonable that he was hospitalized, had to go by ambulance when your son was not harmed physically. Also, I don't think this young man is that brave to attack your son looking at their sizes.
And he announced the results after listening to the stories of both the sides, and this is what he said.
Oh, yes it is. When you don't
Her.
show up for mediation, they dismiss the person's claim who was not there. Your son wouldn't have been suspended because they wouldn't have had the other side of the story. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Tangela claims the defendant not only fought a girl in a club, but she also went to jail after attacking a coworker. She's suing her today for a loan and emotional distress.
Daniela says her friend can be dangerous, and she is suing her for $1,900 for emotional distress. But let's see the other side of the story.
Defendant Crystal Davis says Tangela is no angel, and when they go to the club together, Tangela always puts on a show.
Well, Crystal has had her side of the story, and according to her, Daniela is not so sweet, and she gets on the nerves of everyone.
Crystal claims Tangela takes her own tequila to the club, and when security catches her, she starts twerking, so they will let her stay.
Even being both the plaintiff and defendant's friends, Daniela begins with what the real was.
She fights any and everywhere. We could be at the grocery store, we could be out in a club, anywhere. She fights anywhere.
She tells Judge Mathis about Crystal, that she can randomly start over a fight at a grocery store with a girl for no reason, which is cruel and humiliating.
One time we was at Walmart and this girl kind of like had skipped me in line, and Crystal had noticed it, but I really wasn't paying the girl no attention because me and her was having a conversation. Next thing I know, Crystal punched the girl in her face, takes her wig off. They're fighting all up in the store. So I had to come back. I'm like, Crystal, calm down. It ain't that serious. Go to another line.
Daniela goes on with another incident about her rash, cruel behavior when she had a fight with her boyfriend's ex and her office colleague. And this had even landed her in jail.
Crystal didn't want the girl dancing with her boyfriend, so Crystal started fighting the girl, and also she started trying to fight with her boyfriend.
Judge Mathis confronts Crystal about the truth behind these incidents and is all ears to listen to her side of the story.
This had happened around July, and I was kind of mad and upset with the young lady.
But Crystal believes all that Daniela said was wrong. But she doesn't stop there. She goes on to accuse Daniela, saying that everything she said was wrong and untrue.
I was going to confront her about why she should be fired. Well, it escalated because I was loud and I was upset about the situation.
Crystal, too, had her mental breakdown at some time about the situations she had fallen into and asserted that she did not deliberately fall into such incidents. I mean, who likes to?
You ever had anger management?
I don't need that.
Yes, you do. All this violence. What else you want to tell me before we get to the loan?
Okay, well, she's a good friend. She used to be a good friend.
Taniela then informs Judge Mathis that Crystal's behavior had no end and the anger issues were to be monitored and taken care of. Crystal apparently even got very verbally abusive at times.
And what's the emotional distress?
Because I had to go and borrow money because I have a daycare business, so it's up and down. So I was expecting for her to pay me that $900 back.
On listening to this, Crystal, who is in absolute denial, did the unthinkable. She had the guts to lie in front of Judge Mathis, which is a very disrespectful thing to do in the courtroom.
I was about to, but I didn't. I didn't get to.
You are violent.
Plaintiff Tangela Holloway was friends with the defendant.
Judge Mathis, after listening to both sides of the story, was now ready with his judgment.
$900 is your judgment, ma'am, with regard to you being unable to pay all of your other bills. Have a good day. Judgment, however, for $900.
But despite all the evidence, the claims on both sides got nullified because there was nothing in writing.
Sharinda claims after the defendant moved out without notice, she and her daughter, the co-defendant, attacked her.
Sharinda claims to be attacked when she was friends with Calvina, who, along with her daughter, had been in the fight with her. Let's hear the other side of the claim now.
Tamira claims the attack occurred only after Sharinda threatened her with mace. They're countersuing for the assault.
Calvina and Tamira have their say in the fight that they are countersuing for the assault as well, because Sharinda had been calling them names. But there was much more to this.
Calvina and her 3 youngest daughters came to stay with me. Everything was good. We didn't have any problems. Little problems started to come because she worked third shift, so she would leave at nighttime and she was supposed to get off at 7 or 8 in the morning, but it was days where she wouldn't come till after 3 in the afternoon.
Sharinda informed Judge Mathis about all the problems that had been occurring with Calvina and her daughter when they moved into her house.
We had the conversation, the talks or whatever. It got better, I'm not gonna lie, it got better. But then some days it was the same thing.
The side of Sharinda was not yet resolved, and we come to know that Tamira's son was smacked without any reason.
So at first I would tell Calvina, like, can you, tell him to stop hitting them or whatever case may be. They're kids, so I understand that. But don't keep doing it if we're all sitting right there. Say something, especially if you don't want me to say anything.
But it looks like both the kids were equally involved in the fight.
So then I inboxed Tamira on Facebook and I have messages about that as well. Just telling her like, okay, I don't mind you guys coming over here, but if he can't keep his hands off my son, then y'all gonna have to, period, point, like stop it.
Sharinda continues telling about how things were better initially, but out of nowhere things got worse and her kids had to suffer beyond measure.
So she said that it was gonna stop, it didn't. And then
That's when it led to this incident.
Yes,
Let me hear from you all, whoever wants to speak first.
Well, now Calvina was really pissed that she was accused to this extent. But what she said about the fight next took things to a new level of cruelty.
Back in June, I was getting out of a domestic violent relationship, and she pretty much asked me and opened up her doors to me and my children, my 3 children.
Calvina also told Judge Mathis that she had cleared things between her and Sharinda, and still the attack happened.
My children started stating to me that she would be doing petty things to them when I leave for work. And so I addressed it. I confronted Red about it.
But then Calvina said something that left everyone in a state of utter shock.
I trusted you to the fact to leave my children with you while I go to work third shift, and pretty much you betrayed me and was doing bogus stuff to my kids when I wasn't around.
But the judge was still not sure how bad things had gotten. And just when he was about to make an analysis, things got worse.
Tamira had really long weave braids, so I was able to, she put me in the headlock. I was able to wrap her weave around her neck. So,
ooh, Lord.
She had me in the headlock.
You a good sure.
I'm positive.
Whether Sharinda was lying or not was a huge question to be answered. And finally, it looks like Judge Mathis has it all figured. And yes, it's now time for the results.
I heard you say, yeah, talk to her like you was talking on the phone. Beat her, beat her, beat her, A, B, beat her, beat her. You beat it. Your claim is dismissed and yours is granted. Have a good day. Beat it, beat it.
Once again, Judge Mathis saves the day.